So to get started, you're going to need to download the Cricut Design Space. Now, the download process is super easy, and we're going to go ahead and provide the link for you in the description. So all you'll need to do is follow the link, and it'll walk you through the steps to get it all set up on your desktop. Once it's all set up, you're going to go ahead and open up the Cricut Design Space. So you're going to look for this little green C icon right here. So we'll go ahead and open that up. Now, depending on your settings, you may be asked to log in, but once you're logged in, this is what your home screen is going to look like. Along the top, you'll see all of the new projects and ideas that Cricut is advertising, and then below that is where you will see all of your previously saved projects. So for this project, we're actually going to be making a gift tag. So let's go ahead and create a new project. When your new project loads, this is what your canvas should look like. Along the top, you'll have all of the different editing tools. You'll notice that right now they're grayed out, and that's because we don't have anything on our canvas that we're working on. And then along the left sidebar, you'll find all of the different templates and projects that you'll be able to use to help you finish your project. So templates are used to help you put together designs for pre-made objects, and you'll see a bunch of different templates here. There's backpacks and aprons. I think somewhere in here there's a smartphone case. And essentially what it does is it provides you a basic template for the object so that as you're designing, you'll have a basic idea of what the finished project will look like. Under the Projects tab, you're going to find all of the pre-made projects that Cricut provides. Now, the Cricut cuts a variety of different things: paper, fabric, vinyl, leather, all sorts of stuff. So under the Projects tab, you'll be able to browse through all of the pre-made projects that use the different materials you'll be working with. The Images tab is where you will go to browse through the different images and objects that you can add to your project. And you'll see everything's broken down here under Themes, People, or you have the option to search through all of the images that Cricut provides. Text allows you to add text to your project. You'll notice that underneath the original editing bar that there is another little editing bar that showed up, and this will allow you to change the font, the style, the size, that kind of thing. Shapes just provides you a number of different basic shapes that you'd be able to add to your project. You can go through, change the color, the size, that kind of thing. And then Uploads allows you to upload your own images to add to your project. So for this project, because we're going to be making a simple gift tag, we're going to go ahead and select Images. Now you'll see a whole bunch of different images you can add to your canvas. There's coloring sheets, there's greeting cards, there's decals, there's all kinds of fun stuff. So instead of scrolling through the 128,000 images that they have, we're going to go ahead and use the search bar. So let's type in gift tag. So once you find the image that you want to use, you're going to go ahead and select it, and it will highlight it in green. And then you're going to go ahead and select Insert Image. So when the image loads, you're going to notice these four icons on all sides of the image. So obviously the X is going to be if you want to remove it from your canvas. You'll go ahead and select it and we'll delete it. And then in the bottom corner right here, you're going to see this little lock icon. Now what this does is this unlocks the whole image. So right now when you use these little arrows, this will adjust the size of the whole tag. It'll adjust not only the width but the length. Okay. When you select the lock icon, it unlocks the image so that you can adjust just the width or just the length, or you can do the whole tag. Now I don't really want to mess with the width of the tag. I think it's a pretty good width, but I do want to make the tag as a whole a little bit larger. So I'm going to go ahead and lock it. And then I'm going to use this right here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay. And then this last icon up here, this is going to allow you to rotate the image. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, it doesn't really matter where the image is positioned on your canvas, because when you go to cut it, the program is going to reposition it on the canvas to ensure that there is enough room for everything to be cut out. So it doesn't really matter where it's placed because it's going to change when you go to cut it. So go ahead and just put it right here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay. So now that we've got it positioned how we want it, and it's a good size, we're going to go ahead and add some text. Okay, so we're going to go up here to text. and you'll notice that this little text box appeared on your canvas. This is where you are going to be typing out your message. So let's go ahead and type out, let's just type happy birthday. Okay, so once you have your message typed out, you're going to want to go ahead and select your font. So we'll go up here to fonts, and you'll notice that under each of the font titles, you have a number of options. There's either multi-layer cutting, there's single layer cutting, or there's writing. Now, because we want the Cricut to write out our message instead of cutting it, we need to make sure that we specify that. So let's go ahead and just click on the font here. Okay, so we're going to go over to Style, and from the drop-down menu, you're going to go ahead and select Writing. So this lets the program know that our text is going to be written and not cut. Okay, so now that we have that, now we can go back up to Fonts. And you still have a full list of everything that can be cut and written. So let's go ahead and filter out all of the stuff that can be cut because we want just writing fonts. So let's go ahead and select Writing from the drop-down menu. And now it's going to be just a list of fonts that can be written. So let's find a fun looking font here. So now, once you've got your font and everything selected, we're going to go ahead and move it up to the tag. And it looks like it's going to be a little big. Let's make it 2 lines. Okay, so anytime you want to go in and edit your text, say you have the tag selected, but you want to go in and edit the your message, you're going to just go ahead and double click it, and then you'll notice that the little text box right here appears, and this is where you would edit like the lines, any spelling, any type of thing like that. So let's go ahead and make it 2 lines, and then I also want it to be center aligned. Okay, so we'll go ahead and it's still a little big, so we're going to use the arrow to make it smaller. And then, oops, we'll just go ahead and move the tag underneath it. There we go. Okay. So now that you have your font laid out, you have the tag, you have everything laid out how you want it to look, there's one thing that you need to make sure that you do before you send it over to the Cricut machine. Otherwise, when you send it over, and here I'll show you really quick, when you send it over, it's going to separate the two so that the writing is going to be separate from the tag. Now, what we need to make sure that we do is we need to make sure that we attach the writing to the tag. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select all. And then in this little bar down here, we're going to select Attach. And you'll notice that over here you have this Attach option and that these two things are listed below it. So now the writing is attached to the tag. So say you go to move the tag, you can see that you move both of them. You don't move the writing separately from the tag. They are one thing now. Okay, so now we can go ahead and send it over to the Cricut. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go up to Make It. And on the next screen, you're going to see your finished project. Okay, and so you'll notice over here it says draw and cut, so we know it's going to be drawing on the tag. The material size, you can adjust this based on the size of paper that you're going to be using. So you can change it to like 8.5 by 11, 12 by 12. The default is 12 by 12 because it's scrapbooking paper size. Okay, so you can change that. And then you'll notice the measurements on the mat. And so this kind of gives you an idea of how big the final project is going to be. Okay, so once we've gone over everything is kind of how we want it. We're going to go ahead and go to Continue. And at this point, this is when you're going to want to connect your machine to your device. And you have the option to connect your machine via Wi-Fi or USB cord. For this video, we went ahead and connected it via USB. So once it's connected, you saw it do its little search, and now it shows that it's connected. So once it's connected, you're going to see the base material set right here. There's a little knob on the Cricut machine where you can adjust what materials you're going to be cutting. So you can indicate that you're going to be cutting leather or regular paper. For this one, we're going to go ahead and use cardstock. And then below that, it's going to show you the materials that you are going to need to complete your project. And you'll notice the pen right here. When we switch over to the machine, we'll go ahead and show you how to insert the pen. And then from this point, you're really just going to follow the prompts on the screen and the buttons on the actual machine. And the buttons will flash when it comes time for you to press each of the buttons. So once everything is set up and how you want it, we are going to go ahead and go over to the machine. Okay, so once you're finished on the Cricut Design Space, you're going to go over to the actual Cricut machine. And what you're going to do is you're going to need to make sure that you set up, because we're making a gift tag and it's also going to be writing, so we need to make sure that we put the Cricut pen in there.
So you'll notice the two things right here, there's A and B. The B slot is where the actual blade is. That's gonna be doing the cutting. This first one, you see how it's empty? That's where the pen's gonna go. So you're gonna go ahead and just flip that open, and then you're gonna take your pen, and you're just gonna put it in there, and you're gonna make sure you press down until you hear it snap. And then you're just gonna close that, okay? Then you're gonna go to your mat, and you're gonna take your cardstock, and you're gonna make sure that you line it up in the corner of the mat. You'll see like the grid layout on the mat. Now you wanna make sure that it lines up, because when the machine starts cutting, it's gonna start in this top corner up here. So you wanna make sure that it's lined up with the actual grid on the mat so that nothing is cut off. And then the mat's sticky, so you'll go ahead and press the paper down so that it doesn't move. And then we're gonna go ahead and put it into the machine. Now when you first put the mat in, you're gonna wanna make sure that it's lined up with the wheels along the sides here, because if you don't line it up with the wheels and it doesn't pick up the mat, when the machine goes to cut, the mat's gonna move around and the writing will be all messed up, so your project will look all wonky. So you're gonna wanna make sure that it's lined up with the wheels so that when you press the arrow buttons, the mat is pulled underneath the wheels like that. Okay, now once that's done, as you're going along, the Design Space will kind of show you which buttons you need to press, but they're also going to flash on the machine right here, so you know, it's pretty self-explanatory. So you'll go ahead and press the C, and it's going to start cutting. And then once it's all done cutting, you're gonna see the arrow button flash again, so you'll go ahead and press that so that the wheels will roll it out, and there's your tag. Go ahead and peel it off, and there you go.